I was asked about silence. For some, that's incredibly bothersome. Notice if you were making up something, like, did the audio go out? Is this brother playing with me right now? Is he really just going to sit there in silence? Just notice if you needed to fill that in, or if you just sat in silence and observed your thoughts and observed the presence of any feelings, right? The beauty of silence for me is that it allows my body to reset. Now, I found this is tricky. Silence and stillness go together for me. I've been silent where I said, oh, I won't talk, but I was engaged in activities that had the brain running overtime, right? Or even when I take silent walks, that is a type of silence, but the walking can still be a form of activity and distraction. The walking is still movement, right? And most of our communication is nonverbal anyway. So the walking is communicating something and it's forcing the body to work. The lungs are working, the heart is pumping, right? So there is a communication that's taking place. There is a conversation. And it's not that that conversation doesn't happen when I'm just sitting still, but I learned that there are different types of silent activities in which I can engage. But boy, does it reset. And this came out of me going to therapy. I walked in the first time, talked my way through the whole thing. Walked in the second time, did more of the same. Therapist was able to ask a couple of questions, but boy, I talked. Got to the third one. Therapist asked a question, I went off, blah, 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 blah. And then he interrupted he interrupted and said, you have a hard time sitting in silence. And right when I was about to say something, I stopped. But even then, I wasn't in silence. I just decided I was going to engage in, the equivalent of a staring competition. So I was going to see how long he could sit in silence since he was rude enough to point out my verbose disposition, right? I was going to show him. All I found out was that I was attempting to control the need to constantly fill in the moments. Constantly fill in the moments for me is a need to control. So I found the beauty of asking a question. When I facilitate, or even, when I'm working in some capacity, I'll ask a question and then sit in silence. I'll ask myself a question and then sit in silence, because asking a question, filling it in with another question, asking a question and answering the question doesn't allow for the answer to always come forward. But I found, boy, when I sit in the silence, take a breath in through my nose, out of my mouth, and I can be still, the answer comes forward. And almost every time that I'm working with somebody, when they get stuck and they're talking, or they're moving and, they're thinking, I say, just take a breath in through your nose, out your mouth, and allow the answer to come forward. Something rolls off their tongue. So silence. Sometimes we ask people for support or for help. Sometimes we ask God, divine light, universe, love, Allah, spirit, Buddha, Father, sky, Mother Earth, whatever, right? We ask a question and then we don't give enough time in silence and stillness to receive the answer. So if you struggle like I did in silence, play with some simple activities. Give yourself 10 seconds of silence and allow that to grow to 20. When you're in the shower, rather than thinking about or talking about or planning something, right? Talking about something, because sometimes we're in the shower and like, honey, what are you, just enjoy the water as it cascades over. You give yourself, 10, 20, 30, 40 seconds in the silence and in the stillness and allow it to grow. I remember when my wife would take salt baths, to relax the muscles. Couldn't get her to stay in for 10 minutes. Now, we both stay in the baths for up to an hour at a time. It grows. So allow yourself to sit in silence and be still on occasions so that you allow your body to reset, so that you can hear your inner voice, and that so perhaps the answers that you're searching for have an opportunity to come forward. I sat in silence in the bath, brother, sweating because I just took a salt bath. So I'm feeling real good, but it was quiet. So hope that supports and nurtures your journey.